Here are the top stories for today, July 14, 2020. President Duterte meets with government troops in Jolo, Sulu to boost their morale amid the killing of 4 soldiers in a shooting incident. The government hits its target of 1 million COVID-19 tests for July. Justice Secretary Menardo Guevarra says every citizen has the right to question the anti-terrorism law. And the Department of Health points to data harmonization with LGUs in the increase in the tally of COVID-19 related deaths. Good day, I'm William Theo. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. Our top story for today, President Duterte has assured the military that truth and justice will be served to the families of soldiers who were killed in a shooting incident in Jolo, Sulu. West MINCOM Chief Lieutenant General Cirilito Sobejana said Duterte's brief visit in Sulu gave a big boost to the morale of the troops. Duterte described the killing of the soldiers as an isolated incident and should not drive a wedge between the military and the police. Among the fatalities were Major Marvin Indamog, Captain Erwin Managuelod, Sergeant Jaime Velasco, and Corporal Abdal Asula. The National Bureau of Investigation is already investigating the matter, and the 9 police officers involved in the incident are under restrictive custody in Camp Crame.
Yung mga bagay na hindi natin akalain na mangyari ay nangyayari. We don't have the answer for that. We know that there is a certain hatred or anger there. Or if there is none, then a misunderstanding that led to the shooting. It is my hope that this isolated incident will not spark any animosity between the armed forces of the Philippines and the PNP.
A mega quarantine center is set to be operational within the week. Health Secretary Francisco Duque said this 550-bed facility located in Port Magsaysay, Nueva Ecija will cater mostly to infected overseas Filipino workers. The health chief earlier allayed concerns of contamination by the residents in Nueva Ecija. He said there is nothing to worry about as they will ensure that the deadly novel coronavirus will not spread from the quarantine area. Meanwhile, DPWH Secretary Mark Villar said the government is targeting to build 50 more quarantine facilities nationwide in the next 3 weeks. The Philippines has so far conducted 1 million COVID-19 tests, hitting its target of 1 million by the end of July. National Task Force Chief Implementer Vince Dizon also emphasized that home quarantine of COVID-positive individuals is allowed. Dizon cited 3 conditions for those who need to undergo home quarantine. First, there must be a separate room. Second, there must be a separate bathroom. And third, there should be no elderly, sick, or pregnant in the household so as not to compromise their health condition. Dizon said the task force versus COVID-19 through its Oplan Kalinga will fetch those who can't meet those conditions and will be brought to a quarantine facility. Malacanang disagreed with claims saying the non-renewal of ABS-CBN's franchise is similar to its shutdown during the term of former President Ferdinand Marcos. This after Vice President Leni Robredo said history has repeated itself.
With all due respect, we disagree, but we do so vehemently. Alam po natin ang nangyari doon sa panahon ng martial law, may prangkisa po, pinasara. Pero nangyari po ngayon, napasong prangkisa, hindi po na-renew. Well, miski po tayo maghinayang, tapos na po ang boxing, no? At dumaan na po sa proseso, sang-ayon sa saligang batas, wala na po tayong magagawa. Well, let's move on.
Meanwhile, Speaker Alan Peter Cayetano has blamed the owners of media giant ABS-CBN for the network's inevitable shutdown. In a Facebook post on Monday, Cayetano said the ABS-CBN owners have deprived the country of billions worth of much-needed funds by skirting and bending the law. He said it wasn't the government who shut ABS-CBN down, rather it was their owners playing fast and loose with our laws that made the shutdown inevitable. Cayetano particularly cited ABS-CBN's tax avoidance scheme as he compared the amount of taxes paid by the embattled network and its rival GMA7. Cayetano maintained that the denial of the franchise renewal is not an issue of press freedom, but part of the government's efforts to reclaim the country's patrimony from the oligarchs. The Presidential Communications Operations Office maintains that the Duterte administration has no policy employing social media trolls to attack ABS-CBN. This after a screenshot of a supposed DDS Solid chat group circulated online featuring a conversation between blogger RJ Nieto, also known as Thinking Pinoy, and OWA Deputy Administrator Mocha Uson. Based on the conversation, Nieto supposedly responded to a question asking if the media giant would be the next target of troll attacks. A certain Gonfrix responded by asking Nieto when he would be able to receive his salary for posting comments against the Liberal Party. Uson supposedly replied by assuring them that PCOO Secretary Martin Andanar would pay them as long as they continued posting negative comments about ABS-CBN. PCOO vehemently condemned associating Secretary Andanar and the PCOO with such activities. Nieto also dismissed the screenshot as fake. More policemen contracted the coronavirus disease 2019, many of whom are manning the quarantine checkpoints. The Philippine National Police reported that 134 more police officers contracted COVID-19, bringing the total number of cases among its ranks to 1,223. Out of the new cases, 130 are from the Police Regional Office in Calabarzon and 4 from the National Capital Region Police Office. A total of 501 personnel have recovered from the disease, while the death toll stands at 9. The PNP Health Service is also monitoring 666 probable cases and 1,431 suspected cases. The Metro Rail Transit Line 3 or MRT3 is now prohibiting its passengers from talking when inside its trains, including making and receiving phone calls. The measure aims to curb possible transmission of the disease through the reduction of respiratory droplets that occur when talking, coughing, and sneezing. The MRT3 said it will also require passengers to comply with its intensified contact tracing protocols, such as mandatory accomplishment of health declaration forms. To address the decreased passenger capacity of its trains brought by physical distancing, a bus augmentation program continues to operate with 90 buses running at a fixed headway of 3 minutes. Aside from MRT3, the Light Rail Transit Line 1 or LRT1 also implements the same prohibition of talking while inside the train. Manila Mayor Isko Moreno Dumagoso pushes for a stricter measure to implement stay-at-home policy. And newly entered cadets in PNPA are now required to undergo isolation and COVID tests. More on these and other news around the metro from Benj Bondoc.
Manila Mayor Isko Moreno Dumagoso on Monday ordered the Manila Police District and the Manila Department of Social Welfare to file cases against parents of minors violating City Ordinance 8243 or the Anti-Child Endangerment Ordinance. Dumagoso said more than 1,000 minors are caught for not wearing their face masks and more than 9,000 violated the curfew. Meanwhile, newly entered cadets of the Philippine National Police Academy are required to undergo isolation and coronavirus testing. PNP Chief General Archie Francisco Gamboa said this is to ensure that members of the PNPA class of 2024 are safe from the disease, even as the reasons of the death of the 2 cadets who died within a span of 3 days are heat stroke and low potassium. Gamboa also ordered a review on the activities for new recruits after the death of 2 cadets. In Quezon City, a campaign called Why I Wear Mask is launched to emphasize the importance of wearing masks. The city government cited studies saying correct wearing of face masks can decrease transmission by at least 70%. Miss Universe Philippines candidate and national team volleyball player Michelle Gumabao has been tapped to be a major influencer in this campaign. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Benj Bondoc.
Still to come, Justice Secretary Menardo Guevarra says every citizen has the right to question the anti-terrorism law. Tarangnan town in Samar is declared COVID-19 free. More on these when the PNA Newsroom continues.
Tandaan ang tamang paraan ng paghuhugas at paglilinis ng kamay upang makaiwas sa iba't ibang karamdaman. Basain ng tubig ang mga kamay at sabunin. Unang sabunin ang mga palad at ang likod ng mga kamay. Kuskusin na maigi ang pagitan ng mga daliri at maging ang mga kuko. Isunod ang pagitan ng mga hinlalaki at kuskusin ng paikot ang mga dulo ng mga daliri sa magkabilang palad. Banlawang mabuti ang mga kamay sa malinis na tubig at patuyuin ang mga kamay gamit ang single-use towel o air dryer. Basta't sama-sama at laging handa, kaya natin to! Isang paalala mula sa DOH, PCOO, KBP at ng himpilang ito. Sa matinding laban natin sa Coronavirus Disease 2019, sugpuin din natin ang pagkalat ng fake news. Huwag magbahagi ng impormasyon na hindi tiyak ang pinagmulan. I-check mabuti ang source ng balita. Kumuha lamang ng impormasyon mula sa mga official channel ng Department of Health. Huwag magpadala sa maling balita. Basta't sama-sama at laging handa. Kaya natin to. Isang paalala mula sa DOH, PCOO, KBP at ng himpilang ito.
You're still watching the PNA Newsroom. Party list organization San Lakas filed a petition before the Supreme Court questioning the newly signed anti-terrorism law. Justice Secretary Menardo Guevarra said every citizen has the right to question the law. Guevarra said the Supreme Court, as final arbiter of all controversies involving the rights of the citizenry, is bound in duty to determine with exactitude the constitutional limits of state power. The SC earlier asked the Executive Department to comment on the petitions questioning the legality of RA 11479. The court has yet to issue temporary restraining order or TRO. The 9 police officers involved in the shooting of 4 military intelligence operatives in Jolo, Sulu last month is set to appear at the National Bureau of Investigation this week. PNP Chief General Archie Gamboa said the PNP is waiting for the release of subpoenas for the 9 cops who are eyed to be turned over any day this week. He said the police officers were transported to the PNP headquarters last July 7 to ensure their availability. Gamboa said the Board of Inquiry, composed of the police and military, has already returned to Manila after assessing the incident in Jolo. The joint AFP and PNP Board of Inquiry, established to revisit their operational procedures, has yet to come up with a final report, he said. Gamboa said within the week the result of the inquiry will be released. Officials of the Negros Oriental Interagency Task Force on Monday appealed to government agencies that are sending authorized persons outside of residence or APORs to strictly observe health protocols. This as some APORs who came to the province have allegedly not followed protocols amid the COVID-19 pandemic. An APOR who arrived late last week was reported to have allegedly made courtesy calls on some government officials, as well as visiting his agency's local office before he was quarantined. The APOR has tested positive for antibodies in the rapid diagnostic test. The IATF said APORs are required to notify the provincial IATF through its local office here for proper documentation. Since APORs are unrestricted in their movements, they are also urged to exercise restraint. A town in Samar, which was the most affected by COVID-19 in eastern Visayas, has been declared free from the virus. More on this and other news from the provinces from Janice Cabe.
Tarangnan town in Samar, the region's most affected community by the COVID-19 health crisis, is now free of the virus after no local cases were recorded in the last 28 days. The Department of Health on Monday reported no community transmission, while its last 2 patients, who were both locally stranded individuals, are recovering. Since the pandemic, the town reported a total of 35 cases, 34 recoveries, and 1 death. Mayor Arnel Tan, however, warns that there is still a possibility to record new cases due to the arrival of more LSIs and returning overseas Filipino workers. Meanwhile, the city government of Iloilo will appeal to retain its modified general community quarantine status and avoid being placed under GCQ as recommended by the National Interagency Task Force for the Management of Emerging Infectious Diseases. Mayor Jerry Treñez said the city can contain everything, adding it has available facilities for quarantine and can do contact tracing of all confirmed cases when necessary. Since it was placed under MGCQ in June, the city government shifted to active campaigning for economic activities. As of July 11, Iloilo City has recorded 36 local confirmed cases, of which 19 have already recovered. In Davao City, Mayor Sara Duterte said on Monday that the National Interagency Task Force is set to revert the entire city to GCQ from the current modified GCQ on July 15. Duterte said the local government will appeal the reversion. She said the decision could be attributed to the rising COVID-19 cases and the disobedience of some Davaoeños in following health protocols. The city has 162 active positive cases, the highest number of active cases since the COVID-19 outbreak started in March this year. Duterte reiterated her call for the Davaoeños to stay at home, wear a face mask, practice physical distancing, and wash hands regularly to prevent the spread of the disease. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Janice Cave.
In our business news, the Philippine Stock Exchange suspended on Monday trading of shares of ABS-CBN Corporation. In a media advisory, the PSE said it has stopped the trading of stocks of ABS-CBN after the House junked its franchise application last Friday. This is to inform investors how a denial of a broadcasting franchise would affect the business. The PSE said the company would be allowed to trade again after it submits its corporate plans. Aside from trading, the PSE has prohibited ABS-CBN from selling Philippine Depository Receipts or PDRs. Among the issues raised against ABS-CBN was its reported sale of PDRs to foreign entities. Up next, the Department of Health points to data harmonization with LGUs in the increase in the tally of COVID-19 related deaths. And India and Canada express interest in collaborating with the Philippines in their COVID-19 vaccine trials. The PNA Newsroom returns after these reminders.
Alamin ang tamang paraan ng pag-ubo upang mapigilan ang paglaganap ng Coronavirus Disease 2019. Ugaliing magdala ng panyo o tissue. Kung uubo o babahing, takpan ang buong ilong at bibig gamit ang panyo o tissue. Kung walang dalang panyo o tissue, maaaring gamitin ang braso na pantakip. Kung nakararamdam na kailangan umubo o bumahing, agad na dumistansya sa mga tao sa paligid. Huwag dumura kung saan-saan, gumamit ng tissue at itapon sa basurahan. Ugaliin ang paghuhugas ng kamay at paggamit ng alcohol o hand sanitizer upang mamatay ang mikrobyo. Basta't sama-sama at laging handa, kaya natin to! Isang paalala mula sa DOH, PCOO, KBP at ng himpilang ito.
The Department of Health, or DOH, points to improved data harmonization with local governments as the cause of the huge increase in the number of reported coronavirus deaths on Sunday. DOH Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergere clarified that the 162 recorded deaths as of July 12 did not occur on the same day. She added that the LGUs have recorded data including COVID-19 deaths which are not yet transmitted to the DOH. The latest DOH data show that about 51% of the 162 deaths happened in July, with 99 or 61% coming from the National Capital Region. Vergere noted a downward trend of deaths in NCR, though it has been reported and validated just now. Due to the data harmonization, Vergere said it is likely that there would be an increase in the number of reported new cases, deaths, and recoveries in the coming days. The military appealed to businesses in the Caraga region to stop giving money to the New People's Army and report their extortion activities. Here is our report from Marita Moahe.
The Philippine Army in the Caraga region has called on traders and business groups in the area to stop giving money to the Communist New People's Army. Brigadier General Maurito Licodine, commander of the Army's 402nd Infantry Brigade, said over 236 million pesos was reportedly generated by the NPA nationwide from their extortion activities. He said businesses can rely on the security being provided by government forces in the area to ensure the safety of their operations. The Army met with Agusan del Norte Governor Dale Guevarra and representatives of the business sector on July 8 to seek solutions on the rebels' extortion schemes in the region. In Bohol, a former member of the CPP-NPA who returned to the fold of the law has received livelihood assistance that will enable her to have a fresh start. Alias Mariel from Carmen Town received a check representing 50,000 pesos livelihood assistance and 15,000 pesos immediate cash aid last week. Mariel was with the rebel fighters who clashed with government troops in 1997 in Bohol when she was only 15 years old. Bohol Governor Arthur Yap said the livelihood assistance was handed over as part of the Enhanced Comprehensive Local Integration Program. Meanwhile, some 4 suspected officials of the CPP-NPA in Negros Occidental were arrested in a joint military and police operation in the southern city of Cabangcalan on Friday. The operatives seized from the suspected rebels 2 handguns with ammunition and 4 hand grenades along with subversive documents, cash, and other belongings. Their arrest was a result of the joint intelligence operation conducted after an encounter between government troops and CPP-NPA rebels on Barangay Pingot on July 8. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Marita Moahe.
In our foreign news, some 9.7 million children worldwide could be forced out of school by the end of this year as a result of increasing poverty and budget cuts incurred by the COVID-19 pandemic. In 12 countries, mainly in West and Central Africa, children are at extremely high risk of not going back to school after the lockdowns are lifted. Lockdown measures during the pandemic saw a peak of 1.6 billion children out of school globally. Inger Ashing, CEO of London-headquartered charity Save the Children, expressed worries that the impending budget crunch let existing inequality grow even wider between the rich and the poor and between boys and girls. To address this emergency, Save the Children urges governments and donors to increase funding of education. The agency also calls on commercial creditors to suspend debt repayments by low-income countries, which could free up $14 billion for investment in education. India and Canada have expressed interest to collaborate with the Philippines in their vaccine trials. The 2 countries sent separate proposals coming from the University of Saskatchewan in Canada and from Bharat Biotech in India that are developing the vaccines for use in the trials. Executive Director Jaime Montoya of the Philippine Council for Health Research and Development said India would start the clinical trial Phase 3 in September, while Canada may likely start the Phase 1 in the first quarter of 2021. Clinical trials would be done in the Philippines once approved and permitted by the Food and Drug Administration of all countries concerned. The vaccine should be tested in areas where there are many cases, like the Philippines. DOST Secretary Fortunato de la Peña said the two countries' interest to collaborate would provide the Philippines with more options of vaccines that can be made available in the country. Residents of Marawi City are turning to online selling as they try to make a living amid the COVID-19 pandemic. The government is right on their side to help boost their productivity and make their businesses more competitive. Here's Christine Lynn Viajante for the details.
To cope up with the challenges brought by the COVID-19 crisis, internally displaced persons in Marawi City remain resilient by finding ways to survive through online selling. With the Trade and Industry Department's Shared Service Facility program, the IDPs were able to produce native Maranao delicacies in volumes ready for orders and delivery. Moreover, staying at home during the pandemic pushes out the creativity of these beneficiaries and was forced to also venture in non-traditional products like halal pizza, cakes, and cupcakes.
Salamat din sa DTI kasi napakalaking tulong sa amin dito sa cooperative namin. Mga members ng cooperative na karamihan na yung mga FB nila na maraming free, yun, nag-online selling, lahat ng discard. Hindi lang ako ang nag-online selling, pero iba-iba kaming nag-online selling, pero isang cooperative namin nung.
Nazria, another beneficiary, admits that the siege and the pandemic brought out the best of her capabilities. She and her cooperative members used their learned bread and pastry skills taught by TESDA to bounce back from their lost livelihood.
Po yung basic lang na paggawa ng tinapay kasi maganda talaga yung business mo na kahit pa paano may alam ka. Yung papasukin nyo na negosyo, kahit pa paano may alam ka. Doon kami nagkaroon ng idea. Kayong mismo talagang TESDA, yun ang nagpunta sa evacuation center. Yung mga lalaki na sila, mga welding, yung mga electric. Opo. Tapos sa mga naman, BPP yung iba. Para umasinso sa buhay, sipag at tiyaga at saka diskarte at saka pananampalataya kay Allah, inshallah magtatagumpay ka.
Both Rasmila and Nazria profit from 4,000 to 6,000 pesos a month when they started selling in the new normal. For PNA Newsroom, Christine Lynn Viajante of PIA Iligan City Information Center.
Let's take another look at today's biggest stories. President Duterte meets with government troops in Jolo, Sulu to boost their morale amid the killing of 4 soldiers in a shooting incident. The government hits its target of 1 million COVID-19 tests for July. Justice Secretary Menardo Guevarra says every citizen has the right to question the anti-terrorism law. And the Department of Health points to data harmonization with LGUs in the increase in the tally of COVID-19 related deaths. Thank you for watching another episode of the PNA Newsroom. To check out more news content, check our webpage or head onto the Philippine News Agency's Facebook and Twitter accounts. For more stories about the government and how it serves Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. We are shown on the pages of the PCOO and its attached agencies. Also, watch us on television on PTV4 and IBC 13. And that's your daily dose of the biggest stories that you need to know. From the PNA Newsroom, I am William Theo. Good day to all. Stay safe.